I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you one of my favorite VIA applications. This unfortunate patient was in a skiing accident in Salzburg, it seems, and this is a borrowed case. I run my own ski meetings in Vail and Aspen, and we don't have these kinds of injuries, where the snow is nicer, but I'd like to share with you how this VIA application, this bone reading application, changes the way I interact and interpret data. You can see the typical approach you might get on a typical chest, abdomen, pelvis CT. In the VIA environment, we can seamlessly slide through the data top to bottom and get our overall view of what's going on. The action appears to be in the chest, where you can see a large pleural effusion. As we scroll through the anatomy, you can see it's difficult to get perspective on all of the individual traumatic changes around the spine, looking in the axial plane, and routinely reformatted images will give you a certain amount of information, but sometimes it's just not in the orthogonal plane that you can get in day-to-day practice. I love this bone reading tool because it takes me from those axial images into multiple methods of display that really enhance my ability to diagnose. If we focus up here in the upper corner, you can see it's taken the entire spine and laid it out in a linear fashion, and also added labels. So I know in a trauma case, I spend a lot of time double and triple checking. Is it T7? Is it T8? Is it T7? Is it T8? And it's very problematic, and it really slows me down. Having those consistent labels. Now, mind you, I'm still going to verify these, but I'll verify them once rather than every 30 seconds. And as you know, radiologists get interrupted a lot, and that forces us to re-verify. Now I have this type of illustration. I can see that I can see clearly that the predominant problems this patient has are around, say a fractured T8 vertebral body. I can get that linear sagittal, I can get it linear coronal, and you can see you get a lot of valuable perspective information from the ability to display this way. Now, curved planar reformatted spine images are not all that unusual. We have them in day-to-day practice in a number of venues, but to have them as part of this integrated bone reading tool is very, very valuable. Notice that when I'm in the axial plane, the labels also persist. Let's see if I can zoom this up for you. Move it up like that, and now zoom it up. You can see that I've got right 9th rib, right 8th rib, right 7th rib, and you say, well, why do I need that? Because I'm constantly losing track of where I am, and when these structures move obliquely, like here, I don't know which piece belongs to which particular rib, and this becomes very, very problematic. What level am I at in terms of those vertebral bodies? Very, very difficult to see. So if I can take the bones and lay them out in this filleted fashion, kind of the way you might, I was going to say eat a rib, but that might be in very poor taste. You can see that I've got all of my labels on both sides. I can zoom in. I can focus on the traumatic issue at hand here. You can see, even though I'm zooming up, and now I can see a fracture of the right 7th rib, the right 8th rib. As I rotate around, you can see all of the individual relationships really beautifully seen. My ability to interpret and then convey this information and record this finding is markedly enhanced by this tool. I really can't tell you. Here you see a left 8th rib fracture. It's also very difficult to miss findings in a case like this that's full of myriad findings when it's all there right in front of my face. My brain is very good at integrating this type of information, much better than it is trying to pull these out of individual slices. Very, very powerful. Now, let's not forget, one of my primary tasks is not just making the interpretation, putting it in a report, but conveying it in a way that I can communicate really well with my referring doctors. And this tool is a wonderful, really spectacular communication tool. I love this bone reading tool. I think it would have great value in everyday practice. I look at oncology cases where the reading physician is concentrated on all of the typical staging criteria, but neglects the ribs because they're very difficult to read on axial images. You pop these images up like this, and metastases stand out just as strikingly as these individual fractures. So this tool, all of this integrated in a nice workflow fashion, is really one of my favorite tools, and I think makes a big difference in day-to-day practice.